Hello everybody, so this video is entitled MSTR stock not bullish enough. Are we not bullish enough? Because if you remember my videos last week, I had said what were my expectations? About $1 billion. Perhaps towards the end of the week, I said $1 billion in a day would be amazing because I saw we were doing better on stretch than I thought, but we did more than $1 billion either way. We did $2 billion in 4 days, most of it, 95% of which was from stretch STRC issuance. Absolutely amazing. Saylor achieving a BTC yield as of mid-May. We have a BTC yield of 12.6%. If you remember, the guidance for BTC yield this year was under 20%. It looks like this year the total BTC yield may be what? 25% at this point. This company leads me to ask the question, are we not bullish enough? Because even though, yes, the price of the equity has been disappointing, the performance under the hood has been nothing but disappointing. This company is acquiring so much Bitcoin, and of course yesterday I didn't get to make my video quite when he made that tweet big dot energy, but it is definitely a big orange dot energy. Absolutely crazy. Again, stretch.live had said 15,400 BTC. We bought a tremendous amount, right? We bought 24,000, so not quite, but nearly 10,000 more. Nearly 10,000 more Bitcoin, right? A good 9,000 more Bitcoin that we bought compared to stretch.live was estimating. And of course, this is part of these ongoing videos is to estimate by how much stretch.live is off. This time it's off more than it was in the past. They're actually off by 55%. Stretch.live had estimated an average of 1.25 billion buy, 1.25 billion Bitcoin bought. He bought 1.949 billion via Stretch. So actually Stretch.live off by 55%. And what does it mean? It means that there's... Sorry, I dropped something here. It means that I'm too excited about this. It means that there's fewer STRC holders that are actually selling. Fewer STRC holders are actually selling that many observers think, right? When you look at the volume traded, you're like, okay, of that volume traded, how much is actual new issuance of STRC? Well, there's more issuance of STRC than actual holders of STRC holding the stock, i.e. fewer people than anticipated are actually arbitraging, right? Are actually doing the ex-dividend dates to collect that extra little dividend. Fewer people than most think are actually arbitraging. And I think that's how you can explain that 55% off from stretch.live to actually how much issuance there is. The company under the hood is performing better than what we think it's performing when we study it throughout the week. Also, of course, the MSTR common was activated. 83 million. It pales in comparison. It's almost a joke in comparison of STRC at this point. But I am still happy to see that he did a little bit of common ATM at 1.28. That is accretive. We're selling a $100 bill for $128. And let me conclude briefly this video. How long is it going to take to get back to 100? Well, you may have seen my video yesterday about another little FUD going on stretch. My hope is that we're not going to have as much FUD on stretch this week, and so it should take us less long. It should take us less long to get back to 100, maybe 2 weeks, maybe a little under 2 weeks. We're at 99.20. My guess is throughout this week, provided that, please, we don't have a crazy macro. My guess is that throughout this week we get back towards 100, but the key now, of course, for MSTR is for Stretch to get back to 100 sooner every month. And soon every 2 weeks, right? Because that vote is going through. Don't forget to vote your shares. But the key now for MSTR success is how quickly we get back to 100. And wouldn't it be amazing if we actually got back to 100 in, say, a week, say, maybe even 2 days, 3 days? One can dream. Unfortunately, Bitcoin, briefly, let me conclude this video briefly discussing about Bitcoin. Bitcoin, unfortunately, as always, taking the macro fears head on over the weekend. Bitcoin always takes a hit over the weekend. We had bad macro news related to the Middle East, right? On Sunday, Bitcoin dropped. Bitcoin took most of the sell pressure. Why did it take most of the sell pressure? Because traditional markets were closed. We need to have traditional markets open 24/7 so that whenever there's a bad geopolitical event, which, by the way, is always on the weekend because people who trigger these events somehow care about the markets more than they care about Bitcoin. We need the markets to trade 24/7 so that Bitcoin doesn't take this hurt of the macro news head on whenever that news comes over the weekend. And that's unfortunately what happened this weekend. Fear and greed at 40. Again, a little low, but that's still healthy. I much prefer Bitcoin right now than any of the AI stocks who are, in my view, over the long term, they'll be fine, but over the short term, in my view, they are overheated, right? And I love this sector very much. So anyways, this was not investment advice. This is not financial advice. This is only entertainment. I'm hoping you were entertained. Please subscribe, follow me on Patreon, follow me on X. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.